Axient wisdom lesson warmly greets you. Have you ever considered that there are 8 things you should never tell anyone, no matter how close your relationship is, even with your own parents? If you do, you may have to bear the consequences. In particular, the 7th point can lead you to family breakdown and divorce. The following content is very practical and can completely change your thinking. I know your life is very busy. Nevertheless, what I am about to say is not easy to absorb, especially very difficult to fully grasp. If you only listen once, my advice is to watch until the end and listen again and again many times. When you are free or doing household chores, please share and save this playlist for your convenience. I am certain that within just a few short months, your thinking will develop dramatically, reaching a whole new level. Today, we will explore together the 8 things you should absolutely never share with even your closest friends or acquaintances. It is better to keep these things locked in your heart than to speak them aloud. Otherwise, you will encounter unnecessary troubles and attract malicious people. There was a small blacksmith shop run by an old craftsman. The old man sat inside the shop while his wares were displayed outside. No matter the time of day, if you walked past his shop, you would see him lying on a chair inside his house. Beside him on a small wooden table sat an ancient purple clay teapot, its exact age unknown. His daily income was modest, just enough to buy tea and rice. He needed nothing more, and thus he was deeply content. One day, an antique dealer happened to pass by the shop and caught sight of the old man's teapot. The pot was ancient, its color a deep, inky purple. After careful examination, the dealer determined it was a rare, priceless artifact crafted by a famous artisan from the Qing dynasty. He offered to buy it for $100,000. At first, the old man was astonished, but he refused, explaining that the teapot was a family heirloom. 3 generations of his family had drunk tea from this very pot while working as blacksmiths. Although he did not sell the teapot, from that day on, the old man experienced insomnia for the first time in his life. This teapot, which he had used for 60 years and always considered an ordinary object, now had someone willing to pay $100,000 for it. Previously, he would drink his tea with his eyes closed, but now, at the slightest sound, he would sit up to check if the teapot was still there, causing him immense discomfort. What was even harder to bear was when the villagers learned he possessed this valuable antique. They began visiting, asking if he had any other hidden treasures. Some even started asking him for loans, and his own children began demanding a share of the teapot's value. The old man's peaceful life was completely overturned. When the antique dealer returned for the second time, this time offering $200,000, the old man could endure no more. He gathered the neighbors, picked up his hammer, and in front of everyone, smashed the ancient teapot into tiny fragments. His life returned to its former tranquility, and it is said he lived to be 100 years old. When hearing this story, perhaps the most shocking moment is when the old man raises his hammer and smashes the teapot. The shards that fall are not just pieces of pottery, they are fragments of greed, envy, and endless obsession. The teapot he smashed was a fake. The real teapot he had secretly sold to the antique dealer. He not only earned $200,000, but also successfully thwarted the greed of outsiders and his own children. It was precisely this sum of money, intended for his retirement, that allowed him to live so long. How many close relationships have been ruined by money? Friends have turned into enemies because of it. When others know you have money, they may want to borrow from you. If you refuse, they will question your affection. Repeated financial transactions can erode friendship and family bonds because the human heart often cannot withstand the test of wealth. There was a man who carried the heavy shadow of a woman he could never forget. Wherever he went, he asked people how he could forget her. He heard that on a mountain there was a temple, and within it a great master who specialized in helping ordinary people find peace. The man was overjoyed. When he met the master, he immediately began recounting his entire story, speaking with great enthusiasm and detail. The master did not interrupt him. He simply sat quietly with his eyes closed, listening until the man finally stopped talking. When the man fell silent, the master opened his eyes and called for his young disciple to bring out some tea. Seeing the man's eager expression, the master took out a small vial and said, This water will help you forget all your sorrows. Drink it, and you will forget everything." The man looked at the vial but hesitated. "Drinking it will make me forget all my sorrows." The master shook his head and replied, "Joy, sorrow, separation, and reunion are all fleeting emotions. Nothing is inherently good, nor is anything inherently bad. Some things are worth forgetting, and they must be forgotten." Upon hearing this, the man quickly shook his head. "No, master, I don't want to forget. I just don't want to think about her anymore. Forgetting just one person is enough." The master smiled but said nothing more. Instead, he turned to his young disciple beside him and asked, "Have you copied the scriptures today?" The disciple obediently replied, "Master, I dare not miss a single day of copying." The master nodded and asked again, "Then how do you remember these scriptures?" The disciple, not understanding why his master was asking him this, still answered honestly, "Master, I think about them often and read them many times. Naturally, I remember them." Then the master asked, "If I wanted you to forget these scriptures, what would you do?" The disciple was confused and thought for a long time before replying, "But if I remember them by thinking and reading often, perhaps if I stop thinking and stop reading, I will forget them." The master then turned to the man and said, "You meet someone and ask them. You meet another and tell them your story. You even recounted every detail to me. How can you say you want to forget? Even this young disciple understands that you must stop thinking. What are you still clinging to? I believe you do not truly want to forget her. You simply feel that your current life is no longer as joyful as it once was. Love is not a one-sided affair. It is the beauty of mutual understanding. For someone with whom you have no destined connection, you cannot change the predetermined ending. Only by letting go and accepting can you create the most beautiful scenery in your life. If someone is not destined for you, no matter how outstanding you are or how hard you try, they will not stay with you until the end. But the person fate has arranged for you, no matter how many detours you take, you will eventually meet again and be together. Fate will naturally make the arrangements. When you miss someone with whom you have no destined connection, you will meet the person truly meant for you, your weaknesses and personal secrets. A hedgehog once met a fox. The fox flattered the hedgehog, saying, "Your armor is truly perfect." "I am so envious of you." Unable to resist the praise, the hedgehog said to the fox, "I will tell you a secret. Actually, my armor is not without weakness. When I curl up, there is a small, soft spot on my belly. If someone blows on it, I will be ticklish and uncurl." The fox was very surprised, but when they parted, the hedgehog sternly warned, "You must absolutely not reveal this secret to anyone." "If the fox finds out," the fox solemnly promised, "don't worry, I would never betray a friend." Not long after, the fox was caught by a hunter. As the hunter prepared to kill him, the fox, to save his own life, immediately revealed the hedgehog's secret. The hunter let the fox go and caught the hedgehog instead. In life, you must never tell your secrets to anyone. Your weaknesses and secrets can become someone else's protective charm when your own life is in danger. This happens frequently in the workplace. Some people, wanting to deepen a friendship, often share their private matters or weaknesses to gain their friend's trust, just like the hedgehog revealing its soft belly. When everyone is still friends, everything may be fine, but when interests conflict, friends can become opponents, and the weaknesses you once revealed will become weapons used against you. In a battle, a soldier said to his general, "General, 200 meters ahead, there is a sniper." But that sniper is not very accurate. He has fired many times and hasn't hit anyone yet. The general asked, "Then why don't you eliminate him?" The soldier replied, "General, are you mad? Do we really want them to replace him with a better sniper? A better sniper?" This story teaches us that we should know how to identify an opponent's weakness, but we should not remind them of it. You never know if a friend might become your opponent. If you reveal all your weaknesses, you will become as vulnerable and easily targeted as that sniper. Whether you believe it or not, your fate is changing with your own transformation. Being near someone radiant like the sun, your soul will no longer be gloomy. Being near cheerful people, you will always smile. Being near proactive people, your actions will not fall behind. Many people belittle themselves to lower others' expectations and gain more recognition from them, but they overlook one truth. When you start belittling yourself, you become the person in the group who is easy to exploit, someone others use and even vent their anger on. Belittling yourself does not help you advance or improve relationships. It only causes you to lose the respect and admiration of others. Therefore, cherish yourself. That is the only way to overcome the broken windows effect. Past mistakes. Long ago, a young scholar went to the capital to take the imperial exams but was sabotaged by a jealous rival and failed. The girl he had loved since childhood also left him. From then on, the scholar was utterly dejected. Day after day, he drowned his sorrows in alcohol. One day, he met a high-ranking monk and begged for a way to find liberation. The monk said little, only asking the scholar to follow him for 3 days. During those 3 days, the monk only gave him water to drink, no rice. Each day, the scholar had to feed the horses, chop firewood, and sleep at night in the stable. After 3 days had passed, the scholar suddenly burst into tears on the road, filled with regret for having treated himself so poorly. The monk said, "Weren't you just like this before?" Punishing yourself for someone else's mistake, deliberately making yourself suffer. Do not dwell too much on painful past experiences. Adam Smith wrote in his theory of moral sentiments, "In this world, no one can truly empathize with another person's pain." Even if you feel as if 10,000 arrows are piercing your heart, even if the pain is so great you do not wish to live, it is still only your own affair. When you reach a certain age, you will realize that indeed everything is like this. Life is like a stage play. Scenes of loneliness and having no one to help are perfectly normal. When you laugh, the whole world laughs with you. But when you cry alone. You cannot demand that others understand your difficulties, nor can you expect everyone to comprehend your pain. No matter how cruel this may seem, it is the truth. It is like the heartbreaking story of a little monkey. While foraging for food, the monkey was scratched by a branch and blood flowed continuously. But instead of tending to its wound, it kept showing the wound to everyone, seeking comfort. The family we are born into is unchangeable. We may not be born into wealth, but never let yourself become someone who carries the appearance of poverty. Poverty appearance is not so much related to money, but to a lack of aura. Our life is not only comprised of material conditions, but also reflected in our spiritual appearance. Do you think everyone is following you? Everyone has their own worries. No one cares about your business. Do not keep recounting your pain to others because 20% do not care, and 80% might even be secretly laughing at you. Talking about past events only adds to your sadness each time. Human suffering is not the same. The hardest days can only be overcome by yourself. Heal your past painful experiences yourself. Relying on others is not as good as relying on yourself. Waiting for someone to save you is not as good as finding your own way out. Do not easily tell your past to anyone, and do not, because of a moment of deep connection, easily reveal your hand. Everyone who bullies you is someone who knows you well. The person you trust the most can hurt you the deepest because they can easily strike your weakest point with just one move. Resentment towards fate. There was a couple. The husband was an alcoholic and the wife was a gambler. They had 2 sons, but their fates were completely different. The eldest son had a successful career, while the youngest son committed a crime and ended up in prison. Someone asked the elder brother, "Why have you been so successful?" He replied, "Because I have parents like this. If I do not strive, who will take care of this family?" Then they asked the younger brother, "Why did you end up in prison?" He replied, "Because I have parents like this. They had a bad influence on me." The 2 brothers grew up in the same family. One thought about how to work hard to improve his life, while the other blamed his parents for ruining him, living day by day without ambition. The truth is, in life, there are many people like these 2 brothers. Living in the same era, some move forward, while others only know how to blame others. The habit of blaming is a disaster, causing you to gradually fall into despair, while those who never complain can overcome danger. U.S. President Abraham Lincoln, after losing his job and failing in the 1832 election, started a business, but within less than a year his company went bankrupt. For the next 17 years, he had to run around to repay his debts, but he never complained. Lincoln continued to run for a seat in Congress in 1846 and was finally successful. If, after bankruptcy, Lincoln had blamed fate and become depressed, his later life would have been filled only with gloom. It is like distinguishing sounds. You are actually distinguishing your own heart, because everything is operating within your sea of mind. It is also a part of your mind, and you are also a part of it. Remember to cleanse your soul. Do 3 good deeds every day. Unlucky words. An internet user recounted that a colleague of hers was pregnant with twins, but constantly complained about how troublesome it would be to care for 2 children. She would joke to anyone she met, "Hey, want one of them?" When she gave birth, one of the babies died. Another friend joked that he had never ridden in an ambulance. That very night, he was poisoned by carbon monoxide and had to be rushed to the hospital in an ambulance. A middle school classmate of mine had a mother who was electrocuted while harvesting rice. We all donated money to help. He joked, "Why doesn't anyone donate to me? My mother was also electrocuted while harvesting rice, and everyone had to donate to help him again." Another internet user shared that a colleague was always saying, "If I get cancer, I'll just give up." And in the end, she was diagnosed with cancer. When I used to work in a garment factory, a colleague had her hand pierced by a sewing machine needle. She joked, "I wish my other hand would get pierced too for symmetry." Less than a few days later, her other hand was indeed pierced. A popular Chinese internet celebrity, Ki, once replied to a fan, "I will never return to Guizhou. I will sleep under the sea." The result was that he drowned in a car accident. Therefore, you must absolutely avoid speaking unlucky words. Do not say ominous things, because a person's fate is tied to their words. What you often say will shape your own destiny. Look at a tree. If its leaves are yellow and withered, it may be because its roots are damaged. Your words are linked to your fate. When angry, do not speak curses, because when you curse others, you are actually sowing bad karma for yourself. The bad consequences will come, but you do not know when. In any case, when you sow bad karma in life, bad results will naturally follow, because cause and effect never make mistakes. Cursing others brings them no benefit, nor does it benefit you. Curses inherently carry malice. When you speak them, your face and expression become distorted. Over time, your face will change. Before the age of 20, your appearance is inherited from your parents. After 20, your appearance is cultivated by yourself. A kind heart and gentle words will make your appearance and approachable. This is a way to cultivate yourself and also brings good fortune. Good things may not be sensitive, but bad things are very sensitive. The ancients believed that writing and words possess power and must be treated with reverence, especially in conversation. The mouth is the gateway to fortune and misfortune. Fortune enters through the mouth, misfortune exits through the mouth. Speaking carelessly is the root of disaster. One must be cautious with words. Some of you often have unlucky thoughts, negative ideas, and have spoken such words in the past. From now on, reduce them and avoid them completely. The joy of success. There was once a boss who liked to speak bluntly and had hurt many people. He had bought a large villa in the city but did not flaunt it on social media. He once said he suddenly matured overnight. 3 years prior, at a banquet in Lang, he mentioned he had earned $500 million in a year. 6 months later, all the fish in his pond were poisoned to death by someone else. In places without street lights, at night, only livestock walk by. The cruelest thing in human nature is the inability to tolerate seeing others live better than oneself, especially those who were previously worse off. As Du Yang once said, "Do not boast about happiness, do not boast about achievement, do not boast about success." Basic physics tells us that things left out in the open lose moisture. Refrigeration is the best way to keep them fresh. Gradually, you will understand that life is your own and has nothing to do with others. People at a high level often cultivate the art of concealing their talents, while people at a low level, if you share your joy with the wrong person, it becomes showing off. If you are a friend who does not meet expectations, if you are a friend who ranks first, I hope you are good, but I do not hope you are better than me. In reality, most people can accept the advancement of a stranger but cannot tolerate the advancement of those around them. It is like a beggar who does not envy a millionaire but will certainly envy another beggar who earns more. What is easily attainable is called envy. What is unattainable is called admiration. The novel Malice tells a profound story. Kosuke's grandfather and Hitaka were childhood classmates and close friends, living on the same street. In school, Kosuke's grandfather was often bullied, while Hitaka always protected him. After graduating from high school, their lives took different paths and they lost touch. Many years later, they met again. Hitaka had become a famous writer, while Kosuke's grandfather lived an unremarkable life. Upon learning of Hitaka's success, jealousy arose in his heart. Even though Hitaka helped him find a new job, he could not escape feelings of envy and resentment. He comfortably accepted Hitaka's help while secretly plotting. He killed Hitaka. His motive and hatred were revealed. "I hate that you fulfilled my dream before I did. I hate your superior life. I also hate my own weakness. I hate that luck did not come to me. I hate that I am not capable enough. I poured all my hatred onto you. No one truly wishes for you to live well, except your parents and a few close friends." Her eyes are gentle, her aura exudes grace. Such women usually have wisdom and an extraordinary ability to understand. They understand the complexities of life but choose to remain silent. Even after experiencing many storms, they still maintain gentleness and kindness. This is the clearest proof of the saying, "Appearance stems from the heart." A new female employee, around 30 years old, joined the neighboring department. After working together a few times, the user felt she was quite gentle, seemingly a soft-spoken woman. But she made a big mistake. Not long after starting the job, she told a colleague, "I was divorced and am now living with a man 15 years older than me." She believed the colleague would keep her secret, but clearly that was not the case. This caused other colleagues in the company to have opinions about her. Some even said very harsh things. Even the leadership began to doubt her work ability. The user heard she had submitted her resignation. The user thought that even when she left, she still did not understand what her mistake was. There will always be many people around you. Sometimes they will appear concerned, asking, "Is anything bothering you lately? How is life treating you?" Hearing this, you might feel they genuinely care and then tell them everything, perhaps falling into a trap. Not speaking carelessly about personal matters is a quality that a mature person must possess. Every family has its unspeakable troubles. Even in a happy family, there are times of discord. Even loving spouses sometimes argue and have conflicts. Bad family matters should not be taken outside. If you tell others everything, they may outwardly comfort and empathize with you, but they cannot solve your real problems. Later, they will use your family's affairs as topics for gossip during tea breaks. Eventually, more and more people will gossip, and your path in life will gradually narrow without you even realizing it. No family is without arguments. Family life is a process of constant compromise and forgiveness. Do not immediately go and tell outsiders when something happens. Many people love to hear about others' misfortunes. They certainly do not sincerely want to help or comfort you. Good news travels slowly, but bad news spreads like wildfire. Some people will turn around and spread your family's dirty laundry everywhere. Family is the only place you can return to without needing a reason. It is the place that will welcome you no matter how you change. In this world, a loving family is not only a refuge for the body, but also a haven for the soul. To build a harmonious and happy family, communication is essential. Communication is the foundation for building good relationships and the catalyst that strengthens emotional bonds between people. For a family, a lack of effective communication will only widen the distance between its members. A psychologist once said, "What matters is not what happened, but how others perceive it." Always remember that communication in close relationships is the most important thing. When family problems arise, do not go telling everyone. Instead, sit down together and talk. Outsiders cannot help you. You are only satisfying your own desire to vent. They might even be secretly mocking you. The best feng shui for a family is to discuss big things together, forgive and avoid arguing over small matters, and never bring up past mistakes. Please remember these 8 points well and apply them thoroughly so that your life can be smoother, more peaceful, and happier in the future.